Okay, so now that we have our outer fabric cut, I have my lining cut, and I also have my webbing cut, it's time to press, which just means to iron, our outer fabric. So I'm following along on the directions. We've gathered our materials, we've cut our fabric, outer, lining, and handles, and now it's time to press. This is step A, under 3. It says press the outer panel, right sides together, in half so that its two short sides meet. Orient the piece so that the fold is at the bottom. So that means the right side is the side with the pattern. So it says the two right sides together so the two short side meet. So that would be these sides. Instead of folding it like this where the long sides would meet, we want to fold it like this. Should line up perfectly because we measured twice and we cut once, which means our measurement should be perfect. Make sure it lines up. Awesome. Okay, so orient the piece so that the fold is at the bottom. All right, so that's going to be like this for me, or I guess like this actually. All right, so the fold's at the bottom. So before I move to B, which is folding down and pressing these tops, I'm going to actually just iron my fabric really quick so that I get out some wrinkles that are going to cause a problem here in a minute. So a few reminders about the iron. Don't leave it on the fabric for too long. You want to constantly move it. I'm using a really durable cotton fabric, so I have it on level 4. I also can occasionally press the steam button to make sure it's not overheating. Never ever leave your iron with the iron heat down. Also never touch it while it's on. You always prop it up. I'm now going to slide this forward a little bit so I can iron this whole bottom piece. Going ahead and having this ironed and neat and clean will just make it easier to do the rest of our project. It's always better to press at the beginning and at the end so everything is perfectly crisp. Alrighty. So now it says press one of the top 18-inch edges, so this is our 18-inch edge, down 1/2 inch towards the wrong side, and then another 1.5 inches towards the wrong side. So let me grab my ruler. So it says press one of the top 18 inches edges down at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to get my ruler and look at 1/2 inch. So 1 inch is here, 1/2 inch is here. So I'm just going to fold this down and I'm going to press it. So fold and press. And you could have a partner with you to help hold it down if you want. A little trick too is to kind of use your fingernail. So fold it halfway and then with your fingernail kind of push it down just so it'll stay for when you go to iron it. So you can just kind of use your fingernail to give it a little crease. And I want to make sure that this is about 1/4 inch because I've taken half. Press one of the top 18 inches down 1/2 inch. No, it should be 1/2 inch, excuse me. So this is 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. So now I need to make sure that I press this. All right. So now it says fold it again 1.5 inches towards the wrong side. So again, this is the wrong side. So now we're going to fold it 1.5 inches down. All right, so again, we need to measure. So that's about 1 inch, but we need 1.5 inches, which is here. All right. So I'm just using my fingers to gently smooth it across before I iron. And then I'm just going to measure again. So we need to pull it down a little bit. I'm going to push it with my fingers so it stays. Come over here. Yep. Yep. 1.5 inches, great. So now I'm gonna press. I only have one iron, y'all, so you're gonna have to take your time, be patient. You're gonna have to be diligent about working on the other assignment I have given you while you wait your turn for some different supplies that I have limited options of. All right, so now that is pressed down. And then it says, repeat for the second top short edge. So what that just means is we're gonna flip this over and do exactly what we just did, but for the other side. All right, so hopefully you can remember what we just did, but we took 1/2 inch, which is here to here. We folded it down. So again, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it with my fingers and then come back and measure again. So it looks good to me. Pushing down with my fingers a little bit. And then measure 1/2 inch. Awesome, so now I press this. Okay, moving it across, making sure you don't get your fingers in the way. That fabric is pretty hot after you press it, so be careful when you touch it. Okay, now we fold again at 1.5 inches, which at this point should line up with your other side. So if it doesn't, something has gone slightly amiss, and it's gonna be a little crooked. So, straight here, looks like I need to come a little down, and I'll have to pull the other one down a little bit as well. All right, so we want more than anything for it to be straight, and it looks like I didn't perfectly do that before. So what I'm gonna do here is go ahead and press this side down. Again, double check that it's at 1.5 inches. It is. So I'm gonna press this side down, but if you can see, this back piece that we just did before is not matching up, and that's a problem. So we're gonna have to flip that over and look at it again, because it looks like maybe I made a bad cut, because we want that to match. So what I'm gonna do here is simply correct it by folding it down so it matches. And now I'm gonna press it again. So I see that it's a little longer, and that isn't ideal, but better for the inside to not be perfect than for the outside to not match up. All right, so now it says press a center crease at the top of these folds by bringing the top corners together. So that means we're going to simply fold these over, and we're gonna give a center crease. So make sure they line up on the edge. This center crease is purely for use when we line up the pocket in a minute. If you don't like the center crease, we can always press it out later. But again, I just folded this over so that we could get it flat in half, so that we have a good marker later when we add the pocket. In the lining, we'll know where the center is. It's a nice little trick so you don't have to measure to find the center every time. Make sure where there's multiple layers, you get it really good all the way across, down. And now when you open it back up, you'll see a nice pretty crease in the middle. Make sure these folds all stay where they're supposed to. Perfect, now we're done with step 3.